There's a quiet moment that happens sometimes when you're sitting by the window, a cup of tea in your hand, and you suddenly notice the light falling softly through the curtains. Maybe nothing special is happening. No big event, no noise, no hurry, just a calm, ordinary moment. And yet, for a second, you feel something warm rise up inside you. A quiet thank you. That's gratitude. It's not loud or fancy. It doesn't need applause, but it has the power to change the way we see everything, our past, our days, even our pain. And at any age, especially after 60, gratitude isn't just a virtue. It's medicine for the mind, the body, and the soul. So today, let's take a slow, gentle walk through the quiet power of thankfulness, why it matters, how it heals, and how it can bring light back into even the most ordinary of days. 1. The quiet strength of thank you. Gratitude has been called many things: a practice, a mindset, even a spiritual path. But at its heart, it's very simple. It's the ability to say, this moment is enough. When we're young, we often chase what's next: the next job, the next house, the next milestone. But as we grow older, we begin to understand something deeper. The things that truly give us peace are not things at all. They're moments. The laughter of a friend, the smell of morning coffee, the sound of rain on the roof, the warmth of someone's hand that still fits in yours. Gratitude slows down time. Have you noticed how time feels different as we age? When we're children, a day can last forever. But later in life, it feels like weeks and months slip by like pages turning too quickly. Gratitude slows that down. When you pause to notice what's beautiful, even something as small as sunlight on the floor, your mind stops rushing. Your heart takes a deep breath. Neuroscientists at UCLA found that people who intentionally practice gratitude actually activate areas of the brain linked to calm and contentment, the same areas meditation touches. It changes brain chemistry, releasing dopamine and serotonin, those little messengers of peace. In simple words, gratitude doesn't just make you feel better. It changes the way your brain works. The story of Ruth in the morning light. Ruth was 72 when she lost her husband of 45 years. The first months were heavy, the kind of quiet that hurts to listen to. One morning, she sat at her kitchen table, staring out the window at the gray sky. Nothing looked different, but she remembered something her daughter once said: "Mom, when it feels like there's nothing left, start with one thing you can be thankful for." So she tried. She whispered, "Thank you for this cup of coffee." It felt small, almost silly. But the next day, she found herself adding another: "Thank you for this light." And then, "Thank you for this house." And later, "Thank you that I loved someone for so long." Day by day, those small thank yous didn't erase her grief, but they gave her somewhere soft to stand. Her mornings became lighter, not because life got easier, but because gratitude gave her heart a reason to keep opening. The science of a thankful heart. Modern research has caught up with what Ruth already knew in her bones. Studies from Harvard and UC Berkeley show that older adults who keep a gratitude practice, writing down, speaking, or reflecting on what they're thankful for, experience better sleep, lower blood pressure, reduced depression and anxiety, stronger immune response, improved overall life satisfaction. In one 10-week study, participants who wrote just 5 things they were grateful for each week reported feeling 25% happier and more hopeful about the future. Why? Because gratitude shifts the focus. It trains the brain to look for light, even in dark rooms. And with time, that becomes a habit. Your mind starts scanning for blessings instead of burdens. Gratitude and aging gracefully. Gratitude changes how we experience aging itself. When you start to see wrinkles, not as loss, but as stories, each one proof that you've smiled, cried, lived and loved, you stop fighting time. You start honoring it. You see aging not as something being taken away, but as something being revealed. That shift, from what's gone to what remains, is the quiet revolution of gratitude. It transforms fear into acceptance, loneliness into connection, ordinary days into small celebrations. Because when you live in gratitude, you're not waiting for big things to feel joy. You find it in the small, steady rhythm of being alive, the small rituals that bring it back. Gratitude isn't an emotion you wait to feel. It's a habit you build gently, like a garden. It can be as simple as writing down 3 things you're thankful for each night, saying thank you out loud when you notice something good, or even pausing each morning before you check your phone just to whisper, I woke up today. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, like breathing. And the more you breathe gratitude, the more life seems to breathe back. A heart that whispers, thank you, stays young. Jing with gratitude isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about noticing the beauty that still exists alongside the imperfect. When you live with thankfulness, your heart stays soft, your eyes stay open, your days, no matter how simple, stay full. Because gratitude at any age is not about counting what you have. It's about realizing how much you've already been given. 2. How gratitude heals the mind, body, and spirit. When you practice gratitude long enough, something beautiful begins to happen, not just in your thoughts, but in your body. Your heartbeat slows, your shoulders drop, your breath deepens. You begin to feel safe in your own skin again. It's not magic. It's the quiet biological power of appreciation. Gratitude in the mind, rewiring how we think. Every thought we have leaves a small trace in the brain, like footsteps in soft sand. When we repeat the same thoughts again and again, I'm tired, I'm lonely, I miss the way things used to be, those paths become deeper, more familiar. Gratitude makes new paths. When you consciously look for things to appreciate, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain linked to awareness and emotional regulation. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change itself through repeated experience. In a study from the University of California, participants who wrote gratitude letters showed lasting increases in happiness and reduced depressive symptoms even 3 months later, long after the exercise ended. That's because gratitude teaches your brain to search for what's right, not what's wrong. And over time, that shift can change everything. Imagine if every morning your first thought wasn't, what hurts today, but what's still working today? That small question, repeated daily, slowly retrains your brain to live in hope instead of habit. Gratitude in the body, healing from the inside out. It may sound poetic, but gratitude truly lives in the body. Research from the National Institute of Health found that people who cultivate regular gratitude practices have lower blood pressure, better heart function, less inflammation, and stronger immune systems. One reason is stress. When we live in fear or worry, our bodies release cortisol, the stress hormone. A little is fine, but too much too often wears us down. Gratitude lowers that cortisol. It helps the nervous system shift from fight or flight to rest and restore. It's as if every thank you tells the body, you're safe now. You can relax. That's why people who regularly express gratitude report better sleep, stronger energy, and fewer aches, especially among older adults. It's not a miracle cure. It's simply the body responding to peace, gratitude, and the spirit of finding meaning again. For many people, gratitude becomes most powerful not in the good times, but in the hard ones. After loss, illness, or change, gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it anchors you through it. Because in grief, the heart asks, why did this happen? Gratitude gently answers, look at what remains. When you begin to see that even sorrow can coexist with beauty, a sunrise after a sleepless night, a friend's voice checking in, a memory that still warms you, you realize that gratitude is not denial. It's resilience. It's the soul's quiet way of saying, I'm still here. Spiritual teachers across traditions say the same thing. When you give thanks, you align yourself with something larger, whether you call it faith, love, or simply life itself. And that connection, that feeling of being part of something still unfolding, can bring deep peace at any age. The everyday practice that changes everything. Many people think gratitude is about writing in a journal. And yes, that helps. But real gratitude is more than words on paper. It's a way of seeing. Here are a few simple ways people over 60 can weave gratitude gently into their days. 1. Start small. Each morning before you get out of bed, Think of one thing you're grateful for. It might be your warm blanket, the smell of coffee, or simply the chance to see another sunrise. 2. Speak it. Say thank you out loud, to others and to yourself. It deepens the connection between thought and emotion. 3. Notice the ordinary. Gratitude thrives in the small things. Birds at the feeder, laughter over the phone, a favorite song that still feels like home. 4. Share it. Tell someone what you appreciate about them. Gratitude shared is gratitude multiplied. 5. End your day with thanks. Before sleep, name 3 good things from your day, no matter how small. It trains the mind to close each day with peace. The ripple effect. Something remarkable happens when gratitude becomes part of your daily rhythm. It changes not only how you feel, but how others feel around you. People who live with gratitude tend to smile more, listen better, forgive faster. Their presence feels calmer, their words softer. They become, without even realizing it, a kind of light in the room. And light, as you know, is contagious. It's how gratitude travels, from heart to heart, home to home. And maybe that's the quiet miracle of it all. You don't have to be young to bring joy. You just have to be thankful. 3. Living a grateful life after 60. There's a quiet kind of wisdom that comes after 60, the kind that doesn't shout or rush, but moves through life with soft eyes and a slower heartbeat. It's the wisdom that says, I've been through enough to know what really matters. And more often than not, that wisdom begins with gratitude. Aging through the lens of gratitude. Wing isn't something to fight, it's something to see. Friendly, when you live with gratitude, you stop measuring time by what's gone. You start measuring it by what's still here and by what continues to grow within you. You realize that each year adds something. More patience, more understanding, more softness and where sharpness once lived. And in that gentler space, gratitude blooms almost effortlessly. You wake up one morning and notice the wrinkles on your hands tell stories. The quiet of the house is peaceful, not lonely. And even the aches, yes, even those, remind you that you're still here, still feeling, still living. That's the gift of gratitude. It transforms what is into what matters. When gratitude becomes a way of seeing, Mary, a retired teacher from Vermont, once said in an interview, at 75, I finally stopped chasing big things. I just decided to notice small ones. And that's when my life started to feel big again. That's what gratitude does. It changes the size of your world, not by adding more, but by making the simple things sacred. A walk around the block, the smell of soup simmering on the stove, a call from a grandchild, the rhythm of rain at night. You begin to see life not as something slipping away, but as something still unfolding, slowly, beautifully. And suddenly, growing older feels less like fading and more like ripening. Gratitude in relationships, healing and reconnecting. One of the most beautiful things about gratitude is the way it softens the space between people. When we say thank you, sincerely, often, and without expectation, it repairs little cracks that time and misunderstanding leave behind. A simple thank you for being patient with me can reopen a heart that once closed. A quiet, I'm grateful for you, can rebuild years of distance. In families and friendships, in love, gratitude is the bridge that keeps connection alive. Even when memory fades, gratitude lingers. That's why caregivers often notice elderly patients who are encouraged to express gratitude, even for small things, show more calmness, more cooperation, more joy. Because deep down, gratitude reminds us we're still part of the world, still capable of giving something back, even if it's just a smile or a word of thanks. Gratitude in the freedom of the present. The past can be heavy, the future can be uncertain, but gratitude pulls you gently into the now. Every time you say, I'm grateful for this moment, you take life off pause and you stop waiting for the right time, the right body, the right situation to feel joy. You begin to find it right here, where you already are. That's the secret many people discover later in life. Gratitude doesn't wait for things to be perfect. It makes things perfect enough. The legacy of a grateful heart. When you live a life filled with gratitude, something beautiful happens. People remember the way you made them feel, not because you had all the answers, but because your presence felt peaceful. Maybe your grandchildren will remember that you always said thank you to the mail carrier, or that you laughed easily, or that you never let a meal pass without appreciating whoever cooked it. Those small acts become a legacy, not written in stone, but carried quietly in the hearts of others. A grateful life leaves behind more than memories. It leaves behind light, the everyday miracle. At the end of the day, gratitude doesn't need a grand gesture. It's found in the simplest truths: that you woke up, that you were loved even once, that you loved and are still capable of loving. Every breath, every sunrise, every heartbeat, it's all part of the same miracle. And when you begin to see life that way, it becomes irrelevant, because the heart that's grateful never really grows old. So tonight, before you turn off the light, pause for a moment. Think of three things from today, no matter how small, that made you feel thankful. Say them out loud if you can. Whisper them softly if you prefer. And as you do, feel how your heart relaxes just a little more, how the day feels complete, how your soul quietly smiles and says, this, this was enough. Because it was. It always is. If this story reminded you to slow down, breathe, and say thank you a little more often, subscribe to Stories After 60. Here we share gentle stories about growing older with grace, wonder, and heart. Stay kind, stay curious, and stay grateful, because gratitude at any age keeps us young inside.